Thursday night, the Wall Street Journal dropped that bombshell story about the relationship between President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein that, for me, raises as many questions as it answered. The story said that 22 years ago, Trump was among the friends of Epstein whose letters comprised a bawdy 50th birthday greeting to the now deceased pedophile. But curiously, the Journal did not print the letter. Let's think about that. The Journal said that it had reviewed unspecified documents and had relied on people who had reviewed the pages. The Journal also reported reviewing a letter bearing Trump's name, which was hand-drawn with a heavy marker and depicted a naked woman, including a, quote, Donald signature meant to look like pubic hair. The president denied that this was his work. He said that it was fake, that he never wrote a picture in his life, that he doesn't draw pictures of women. He also added that he would sue the Wall Street Journal if they published the story, and he has since made good on that threat, filing a libel case yesterday which seeks at least $20 billion against the Journal and the reporters involved.
And it seems that the Journal has evidence that it does in fact exist, and that it's perhaps among the many, many, many documents that are in the possession of investigators here.
Yeah, I mean, my reaction to reading this was 2003, before anything had happened. We know Donald Trump knew the guy. We also know he disowned him and kicked him out of his club. I was waiting all day long for this rumoring of a bombshell. This looks like kind of a dud to me. And look, the president says it's not. I don't know. But either way, this gives me like Kavanaugh yearbook vibes. My impression is Republicans are going to strongly rally around the president on this thing. I mean, he may have been facing some turbulence over the Epstein situation, but this is the sort of stuff that brings people to circle the wagons around him.
Unlike other Trump controversies that have pitted his word against an accuser or his word against an allegation, common sense to me suggests that a birthday book exists. There's just too much detail in the story to think otherwise. We're told that it's leather bound, that it was put together by a bookbinder who's identified, Herbert Weitz, and that Weitz once listed Jeffrey Epstein as a client, that it contains poems and photos and greetings from business people and academics. Then there's this very specific detail about Alan Dershowitz's letter being a mock-up of a Vanity Fair cover, complete with a headline asking whether Jeffrey Epstein was Jack the Ripper. There's even, supposedly, an Epstein report card from the Mark Twain Junior High School in Brooklyn. It's hard to fathom that a two-person byline story in a newspaper owned by Rupert Murdoch, which was sure to infuriate the president, would all be made up out of whole cloth, or that it would have made it to press without a very thorough legal scrubbing. And yet, here we are, with the president in a lawsuit saying this is fake news.
Look, I think two things here. One, I think if this was such a big deal and why it wasn't used against him long before when he was running for president, I believe the president on this one. I think he probably is not a guy that draws pictures. I know a lot of people that have gotten a lot of notes from him and they've never gotten a picture. They get a note from him and his signature that takes forever to sign. Like, I look at this and I sit there and I'm like, this is it? Like, this is the whole thing. Now we're talking about,
I don't know if he draws pictures of women, but we do
we're talking about pictures here.
Okay, I know.
We're talking about pictures.
We're talking about the 22-year-old stuff.
We do have this picture that
you got him now.
Man, there it is. That's how good he is at it.
You got him now.
No, it's done now. Yeah, it's done.
$30,000.
MAGA's turning on Donald Trump.
This is going to kill him.
Look at this picture, folks. Look at the picture. He's done.
He'll never win.
He's done. His presidency's over. He should resign.
Abby, he'll never win the 28 election. He'll never win the 28 primary.
It's over.
I'm just saying. Trump says in this statement,
it's so rare you got 30 grand for a picture.
He says, I never wrote a picture in my life. I don't draw pictures of women. I don't know if he draws pictures of women, but he has drawn a picture in his life with a Sharpie, which is similar to what we are hearing about this image.
So what does he know? Let's game it out. I see two scenarios. Either that even if a book exists, whatever purports to be from him isn't. That perhaps someone else wrote the submission on his behalf, with or without his knowledge. Although with regard to his denial about not drawing pictures, there's already plenty of evidence that he has. But for all that, it's hard to believe that the president would have written the imaginary conversation between himself and Epstein 22 years ago. To some of the back and forth. Jeffrey, Yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me last time I saw you. Donald, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday. And may every day be another wonderful secret. That doesn't sound like something Donald Trump would write. A second possibility, Trump knows that if the Wall Street Journal could have produced it, they would have done so when they published the story, and that such a letter, real or fabricated, will never see the light of day. Of course, now he's filed this lawsuit, which will presumably lead to a discovery process where his lawyers get access to the Journal's information, but Trump himself could likely sit for a sworn deposition. Let's assume there is a bawdy note from Trump to Epstein. He survived worse. There's no allegation of criminal conduct here, only potential bad taste. This really does amount to locker room talk. So why would this be something he would so vehemently deny if it exists? Maybe because, unlike prior Trump controversies, this one has done something none of the others were able to do. It has jarred the base, which might help explain why yesterday Trump had the Department of Justice move to release pertinent grand jury testimony in the Epstein case. The story has not only shaken his base, it's also shaken his support among Republicans in Congress. Writing in the Washington Post, Philip Bump offered as good an explanation as any that I have seen. He said, quote, probably for the first time since he announced his candidacy in 2015, Trump has found himself on the elite's side of the divide against the people. On the elite's side of the divide against the people. Instead of leveraging the power of conspiratorial thinking, for at least a moment, he is seen as being used against him. Think about it. The Republicans in the House were unwilling to push back against Trump when he proposed cuts to Medicaid that could threaten rural hospitals, things that could have real impact on their constituents. But when a story about files of a deceased sex offender now arise, suddenly they're willing to defy the president in a way they would not previously, including House Speaker Mike Johnson. But Trump's litigious move seems to have turned that tide. The Wall Street Journal story and the president's response in the short term might have done for Trump what he's been struggling to do in recent days, and that is to get MAGA back on the same page, in this case, uniting against their old foe, the media.
And Trump has also, talked about Epstein. Scott, you're making the point that, they were just friends. This was before he knew anything about Epstein's, alleged bad acts. But here's what he said in 2002 in a New York magazine. So this would have been a year before this birthday message. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy, he said over speakerphone. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it. Jeffrey enjoys his social life. This is all in the public record as well.
Here is the bottom line. Whether or not he drew this picture, whether or not this was actually a letter that he, actually wrote or typed out or whatever it was with the weird picture, that he drew behind her and didn't draw behind it. The bottom line is that to me is somewhat irrelevant. This is someone who said infamously on camera that came out about 2 months before the 2016 election, I can grab women by the you-know-what, and he still won the election. So I think that kind of persona perhaps is baked in. I think the bigger issue here is that this has caused the MAGA base to kind of lose its mind. And the question is the MAGA base going to come back together, or is this a base that is fractured, that is significantly fractured?
Have you lost your mind, Scott?
Because people have been, your colleagues, the Charlie Kirks of this world, people very well, have been all over the place saying that they're very disappointed in Donald Trump.
Well, I should say that Charlie Kirk and Laura Loomer
way out
tonight have both said to other outlets that they don't necessarily believe that Trump wrote this or what have you. So they're starting to circle the wagons on this, which is what Scott suggested earlier.
The facts of Donald Trump's base are this, and we reported on this morning here on CNN. Since the Epstein business started, his job approval among Republicans has gone up.
If anything, Donald Trump's approval rating has gone up since this whole Epstein saga started. He is at the apex or close there too in terms of his popularity with Republican voters, Epstein files, complaints or not.
Job approval among Republicans has gone up. He's over 90% with Republicans. It's not hurting him with his base. I know you're a Democratic strategist, maybe not
Some
an
of the
expert on the
large
MAGA
voices
base.
in his base
but
have
look
been
what's
very frustrated.
But look what's happening. He's gone up. Why? Because while we're all sitting here dealing with this nonsense, out in real America, he's signing legislation on fentanyl. He's talking about the AI future in Pennsylvania. He's securing the border, big beautiful
away
bill.
from 17
So
million Americans.
his numbers are going up with Republicans. This is a fantasy that Democrats have been engaging in since January that Republicans would abandon.
No, Scott, do not.
Trump, it's not
Try to
happening.
put this on Democrats. This
Every
is something
night I
that the
sit here and
MAGA
listen to a
base.
Democrat tell me Republicans don't support Trump, and they do.
This has been
They
a
do.